I now call this meeting on September 20th to order. Welcome and good evening. We have some students here from Early College High School, and we welcome you. Thank you for coming. I think we've got a few more coming in as we speak. Okay. Ms. Hall, roll call. Thank you.
Mr. Frank?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Castro?
Here.
I'm here, and you're here.
Yes, we're all here. I need to welcome our student advisor, Tristan Schlauhauer. Welcome, and we're ready to go. Let's stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this takes us to the approval of the minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve the June 21st, 2016 regular board meeting minutes and the July 12th, 2016 regular board meeting minutes.
I so moved.
Okay, we have a first from Mr. Castro
I'll second.
and a second from Mr. Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the minutes are approved. We go on to the approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a first from Mr. Davis and a second from Mr. Castro. All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is approved. We now move on to the approval of the consent agenda items. I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items 5C1, approval of student out-of-state travel. 5C2, approval of Head Start documents. 5D1, approval of budget adjustments. 5D2, approval of property dispositions. 5D3, approval of vendor payments. And 6B1, third reading and approval of policy EEB, driving school-owned or leased vehicles. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Mr. Davis first and a second from Mr. Castro. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the consent agendas are now approved. The board met in closed executive session from 5:01 p.m. to 6:02 p.m. to discuss collective bargaining strategies preliminary to bargaining negotiations as permitted under Section 10-15-1, H5 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, and limited personnel matters to consider applicants for the position of superintendent and discuss applicant qualifications as permitted under Section 10-15-1, H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act. No other matters were discussed and no action was taken. In addition to today's closed executive session, the board also met yesterday, September 19th, 2016, in a closed executive session from 8 a.m. to 4:05 p.m. to discuss limited personnel matters, to consider applicants for the position of superintendent, and discuss applicant qualifications as permitted under the Section 10-15-1 H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act. No other matters were discussed and no action was taken. That takes us now to recognitions. Dr. Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. Tim Staley, if I see you in the back over there, if you'd please come forward. I'd like all of you in attendance and the members of the board. Mr. Staley is an English teacher at Oñate High School. He was recently honored by the Doña Ana Arts Council with the Arts in Education Award. He is recognized for his leadership and pioneering spirit to promote and shape visual and performing arts education initiatives in our district and our community. Tim has taught at Oñate for the past 10 years, and in that time he has a long list of accomplishments, including creating and leading poetry camps, working as an adjunct instructor at NMSU, sponsoring Poetry Out Loud, a state contest where students recite famous poems for an audience, and starting an open mic event at KTAL Radio, where area students read their poems and short fiction to an audience. He recently published a full-length collection of poetry, and his newest poetry book is scheduled for release in 2017. Tim, we'd like to present you with this certificate on behalf of Las Cruces Public Schools for all of your wonderful work and how you have impacted the lives of students greatly.
And go ahead. Mr. Staley wants to make a statement, so we're going to go ahead and let him go to the podium.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much. The board, I really appreciate you taking the time to give me this certificate. And I just wanted to briefly say all the teachers I know do a lot outside of school, and it's they don't always get recognized. So it's really nice to have this as proof that y'all are noticing when we do things for the community and we go above and beyond. And I've got this award basically because when I teach students poetry, it's contagious, and they end up getting this poetry disease, and it's ended up being really, really good. So thank you so much. You guys have a great night. Thank you.
I asked Mr. Staley for a poem.
So they are requesting a poem. Do you feel all right? Do you feel all right? When Bob Marley Jr. asked the crowd, "Do you feel all right?" I take it personally. I ask my friend how she feels all right, and she suggests a six-pack of Coca-Cola before bed, but there are bubbles in Coca-Cola, and I know feeling bloated is definitely not feeling all right. I ask God if I feel all right. I'm all bent over like a question mark, shooting him arrows. Do I feel all right? And after no word from the celestial bondsman, I decide to go local. I get a six-pack of Coca-Cola and let it get really flat. And then I write a letter to the president in a very calm cursive. And he gets back to me quickly with an autographed 8x10, and I feel all right for a while, but he never stops smiling, and that's suspicious. So I ask my wife, do I feel all right? And she's so busy tying the laces of her aerobics shoes so tight so they don't fall off when she's dancing. She can't even answer me. I ask my brother, do I feel all right? And he says, I got to get out of here. I call up my mom, and before I even finish asking, she says, oh, yes, you feel all right, and you feel handsome, too. And, I do feel handsome, so I restring my racquetball racket, and I speed walk the Mesilla Valley Mall food court, but I don't know. I don't feel all right. So I decide to go into the forest and shut the door. And I follow a stream all the way up a mountain into the thin mist. And my toes and fingers go numb. And I feel myself fall in to the wind-blown scatterings of the peaks. Thank you.
Next, Madam President, members of the board, I'd like to recognize one of our outstanding counselors. And Beverly Tenorio, you are in the audience. Would you please join us up at the dais? A counselor at Conley Elementary, Beverly Tenorio, was recently named the New Mexico Counselor Association School Counselor of the Year. As part of the state award, her name will be submitted to the American School Counselor Association to be considered for the national award, and she will travel to Washington, D.C. in January to be honored at a dinner hosted by First Lady Michelle Obama. Now in her 10th year at Conley, in addition to her busy day at school, Beverly also teaches every other week. She also provides counseling for roughly 25 to 30 students every month while still managing her private counseling practice. And she serves as the membership chair of the NMSCA and coordinates school-wide events such as Red Ribbon Week, the Greatest Kindness of Challenge and Career Day. Beverly, thank you for all the work that you do for all of our kids here in Las Cruces Public Schools and the community of Las Cruces. It is fine. If her Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, members of the audience, now we'd like to recognize a truly outstanding instructional leader in our schools. Bernadine Cotton, if you're in the, there you are, would you please come forward? Bernadine Cotton is a mathematics teacher at Tombaugh Elementary. Recently earned one of the most prestigious awards that a teacher can receive in the United States. She is one of only 213 math and science teachers in the nation named by President Obama to receive the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. As part of her award, Bernadine was awarded $10,000 from the National Science Foundation and recently traveled to Washington, D.C., where she was honored as a leader in the improvement of mathematics education. I was fortunate enough to travel to Tombaugh Elementary with a team of colleagues to recognize her accomplishments, and the smiles and the eyes of your students said it all, and how lucky they are to have you as a teacher. Bernadine has taught at Tombaugh Elementary for the past 26 years, and as a district, we are truly honored to have her as a teacher. Bernadine, thank you for your inspirational work on behalf of all the students that you've had in your classroom.
And I have an additional comment. That's why I'm standing over here. I taught for 12 years with Bernadine, and I was at one end of the hall and she was at the other one, and we all bowed to Bernadine. We all bowed to her. That's how great she was, even then. Thank you, Bernadine.
I'm sorry I don't have the equipment yet.
Dr. Sasha, do you want to come down?
I would love to.
Thank you.
Madam President, I should also say before they take off, because I see them going, the administrative team from Oñate High School is also here to recognize their colleague, Mr. Staley. So I wanted to recognize our Oñate administrative team here, and Mr. Shepakan, you're over there, the principal.
And I'm sorry I didn't bring you up. I
And
apologize.
all of our assistant principals are over here, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to public input. And I have three. Are there any more? Anyone else? Okay. Then we will start. Loretta Nordwall is here.
Really quick, Madam President, members of the board, I'm Loretta Nordwall, Bernadine's sister.
Right in the mic.
I'm Bernadine's sister, and we're very proud of her. Senora Flores, we remember you at Tomba. And our family is having a recognition for Bernadine, and we are inviting you to come and join with our family as well as the Tombaugh family. So I'd like to extend an invitation to you today. Thank you so much for recognizing my sister.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Nordwall. Margaret Sanchez Maes?
Hello, Superintendent and board members. My name is Margaret Sanchez Maes. I'm a parent. I have 2 daughters here in LCPS, an 11th grader at Arrowhead and a 9th grader at Mayfield High School. I wanted to talk with you about a concern I had about the overcrowding that I've noticed in the high school. It's pretty bad. All of my daughter's classes are overfilled to the point of safety issue. I was talking with the assistant principal, and they were telling me that, she had to switch a class and that there was overcrowding and that they could not put one more student since they were already over capacity, that it was a safety issue. And another concern I have that's a side effect of that is that the offerings that they're having at the high school, especially at Mayfield, are less and less because there's less staff. And the things that are hit the most are the AP courses and the electives. And as we've seen, our district is filled with excellence. And we've seen amazing people and students come out of this district. But if we're kind of going down this road where we're making cuts in staff, my concern is that the students are going to suffer and they're not going to get that excellence that we have given them in the past. Another solution that the schools are having to this problem is that they're saying that students should just take online courses. And online courses are great, but nothing replaces a human teacher. There's nothing that can replace a human teacher in the classroom. And my concern is equity. A lot of the other high schools, I don't know for whatever reason, have more population of students that might take an AP course. So the students at Mayfield, they're being told, well, just take it online. Whereas maybe a student at Las Cruces High would get a teacher. The students at Mayfield are being told, well, you can take it online. So that's an equity issue if some of the students get humans and some get computers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez Maese. And it was at Mayfield, correct?
Yes.
All right. The next public comment from Bruce Hartman.
Yes, good evening, Madam President and members of the board and Dr. Sanchez. Last Monday, Mary and I met with Dr. Sanchez, and we were talking about vacancy postings on the Appatrack, the job application website. And I know that you had mentioned something that was on the website, and I said at that time I hadn't noticed it, but I just pulled it up. There is a posting for, it says teacher application for the 2016-2017 school year. And it says submitting this recruiting application provides Las Cruces Public Schools with an opportunity to view your interest in becoming a teacher for the 2016-17 school year. Your application will be considered for any of the immediate vacancies listed and vacancies as they occur for which your qualifications meet. And then it lists, a number of positions, special ed, computers, secondary special ed, math, science, social studies, and so on. And then looking at the job postings right now, there are only 2 postings. There's a special ed position posted at Mayfield High School, and there is a teacher of the gifted at Mayfield High School. And from my reading of what I just read to you, even though you fill out an application, a job has to be posted and available. And the way I'm looking at this, there's only 2 posted right now. And I know Margaret mentioned the our overloaded classes, and I mean, we got a list of all the classes, all the sections, and there are many classes in the district that are way over what they should be. And I just wanted to bring this up. And also in our agreement under vacancy postings, it does say that notice of approved vacancies and call for applications for positions within the bargaining unit will be made within 5 days as such approved vacancies develop. The notice will include the minimum requirements, varying descriptions, any application restrictions, and the deadline for submission of applications. What we were asking for, we thought, because Gadsden and Albuquerque, they have their positions posted, they say open until filled. And I mean, if I were applying for a high school math position, I would look at today's postings and there's nothing posted. And we were wondering why we couldn't post it, open until filled, because I think that would be maybe show a little more seriousness with filling positions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman. Okay, so if there is no further, then we will close public input, and that takes us to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, members of the public. We, as announced by the president of the board has met in closed executive session to consider the qualifications of applicants for the position of superintendents. This evening, the board will consider its action, as noted on your agenda. We will continue with reference checks for all finalists once the board has given us the go-ahead on who those finalists are going to be. I'd like to alert the public to the fact that on Thursday, September 29th, from 8 a.m. to noon, there are going to be 5 interview groups being held. We will have student, which I talked to the Student Advisory Council about last night. We will have a staff group that interviews the finalists, another community and parent group, and this is very, very important for our community members and our parents to be aware of. We will have the principals also serve in interview capacity, and then the leadership team here at Central Office and the PDC specialists. So that gives us a broad spectrum from the community, and especially, Madam President, I'm most pleased to see that we're able to do it with students. The finalists will then have lunch with the board and the cabinet. It'll give the cabinet an opportunity to actually informally interview the candidates. The principals will meet with them in the afternoon, then the leadership team. There will be a meet and greet at Oñate High School in the Commons area the evening of September 29th at 4:45 p.m. And we want to make sure that at this meet and greet that we give maximum time for our community, any students who show up, to meet and greet these the finalists. There will be a dinner at 5:30, and Tristan, it's not chicken as I announced yesterday, but it's actually Italian food. And so we will then have, and this is very important for our community, and we hope to fill the Oñate PAC, the Performing Arts Center, at 6:30. We invite all community members to come, and we are going to have a forum with the finalists. You will be able to submit questions. Joe Galvan will be moderating that. So we will advertise this broadly throughout the community. But for those of you who are here, put September 29th on your calendar at 6:30, and please join us at the Oñate PAC for that. The following day, Madam President, members of the board, you will be meeting with the finalists in your first session here at Central Office. You will then have lunch with the finalists, and that will be a lunch that the board will have with the finalists, and then you will go into your second round of interviews. And at 4 o'clock that afternoon, your board selection will begin. The input from all of the community interviews will be collected and provided to all the board members as you make your final selection. I'd also like to note to the community and to the board, as part of your adopted search plan, we are asking each of the finalists, once they're identified, to post a short video online so all community members can access those videos. They'll be posted on our website. We will also be visiting the finalists' communities to gather input from teachers, community members. We will make appointments with as many people as we can when we visit those communities as an additional input for you. The board will then have the opportunity to debrief after the visits, take all of the input from the community, and there's going to be a lot of it, and you will then have your closed executive session to consider your final selection on Thursday, November the 3rd. And we will be requesting a move from November 1st to November 3rd to accommodate the collection and the study of all of the information. And that will be at 2 o'clock, and at 4 o'clock p.m. at your work session, you will then announce to the public who your selected candidate is. With that, Madam President, I stand for any questions that you may have on your update on the superintendent's search. I should also add, we will post a complete schedule on our website so all community members are aware of what we're doing, and we will do some advertising as well.
Board members, do we have any questions or comments? Mr. Castro.
Madam President, I just want to compliment you, Dr. Sanchez, for an amazing process that you developed. I think it's very well organized, and my gosh, it's really amazing. I want to thank you for your efforts and your hard work.
Thank you. And Madam President, Mr. Castro, on behalf of my colleagues who have worked very closely with me, we accept your thanks.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, we've got a busy time ahead of us. Thank you, Dr. Sanchez.
Madam President, members of the board, the second part of my of the interim superintendent's update is on showing you a Project Unify video. This is an incredible undertaking that's happening here in the Las Cruces Public Schools, and I want to recognize one of my colleagues, Mr. Mike Montoya, who is a middle school teacher, and he and I are meeting on Friday to look at expanding. Where are you, Mike? There you are. I knew you were here. To expand opportunities for our children, as we're going to see in the video, to provide more opportunities like that. With that, Madam President, I'd like to run the video so you can become acquainted with Project Unify.
In Special Olympics, the power and joy of sport shifts focus to what our athletes can do, not what they can't. Having sport in common is just one more way that preconceptions and false ideas are swept away. The Unified Schools program teamed up with middle schools in Las Cruces, New Mexico for a basketball tournament. Students of all abilities have the power to positively impact their school communities by promoting social inclusion.
like I'll tell you the oath. Like it's like this: let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. My name is Ralph Montoya, and I go to the school name of Mesa Rattlers. My favorite part is the basketball thing. It was fun. It was awesome. I also did the oath. Yeah, the oath I did. It was great. Yeah, I'm really having fun.
He's growing so much. How he was just last year is not what he is today. He has grown. He's matured so much. He's getting more and more comfortable in his body and movement, in interacting with other people, which he's always been a very sympathetic person, but he's becoming more outgoing with it. Hi, I'm Jada Whitmer, and I'm a mom. The mom for this guy right here. To see everybody come together to support these kiddos with special needs. It makes me realize that there is a place for him in this world in the future, and it's going to be great. It's the ego!
Just something I like to do. I just like to make handshakes with them, like our own personal handshake that we have. My name is Tariq Perez, and I go to Mesa Middle School. Just being able to get involved and be able to play with them and show them that everybody cares and knows about them. It's a whole lot of fun that we should try to get all the kids involved in it, not just upperclassmen, to have everyone involved in it. Jeremy, he's in a wheelchair, but he loves to have fun. He loves to play basketball. He loves to run. He loves to get out of his wheelchair and just play with everyone.
I think it's a really good idea for all the school districts to try and give this kind of an opportunity to all the children in special education. I just think it's a good value overall for the general ed students and the special ed students to know that there can be a bond and there can be an opportunity for them to show their ability regardless of what that ability is. My daughter is a partner athlete to the children here at Vista Middle School. I'm just excited to be here. This is my first year being able to come and witness this and be a part of it, and it warms my heart to be able to see my daughter have the opportunity to the experience, and just to see that all the kids getting involved and the pledge that they made this morning. You just feel the unification between the students, and it's just a very good experience.
Because it helps get people out there, get active, just helps everyone. I'll tell you, like, do it like this again, like the basketball. It was awesome.
I think every school across the country needs to have a program like this. It is so vital. It brings people together.
That's great.
Thank you, Madam President. And Mr. Montoya, thank you for your dedication and your passion. Madam President, that takes us to the cash balance discussion, the last item on my report tonight. And as you know and the community knows, the cash balance as of 6/30/2016 was $10,546.656. That was what was reported, and this is the operational cash balance. We are currently in negotiations, and I have briefed you in closed session, as you noted, on the progress of those negotiations. However, of greater concern to me and the parent who was speaking here earlier, this is a great concern. As your interim superintendent, we are experiencing a very dismal state of affairs with the state budget. Preliminary conversations are that the state legislature, in order to balance the budget, may try to recapture district cash balance. A special session is likely to happen in the next few weeks, and we will be monitoring that very, very carefully. And Crystal Valdez is monitoring it on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute basis for us. Currently, the first 5% of the cash balance, that balance of June 30th, has been safe. The dollars over and above this amount could be recaptured at 18%. That 18% equates to nearly $500,000 that could be recouped by the state if that's the action that they decide to take. Furthermore, there is some discussion about lowering the state equalization guarantee, or actually lowering our unit value, but we don't have any clear information about this today. It's still in the talking stages, so it's an option that the legislature is talking about. Estimates range from 2.5% in lowering our current budget to 5%. The figures provided by our Chief Financial Officer, I would like the community to be aware and the board to be aware, as I briefed you earlier, that could be anywhere from $4.4 million to $8.8 million out of our current operating budget. Money that cash balances are supposed to exist and protect us. If they do both, frankly, I don't know how we're going to do as a district. What I would suggest is that I will keep you informed day by day as the legislature continues their discussion. We do not have an exact date of the legislative session. There is some conversations starting to happen that the state may tap into the state's permanent fund, which is reserved for public education, to hold harmless the districts and our public school children. So I just wanted to brief you on that and how the districts, our partners in higher education, are slated to lose approximately $10 million is the latest figure that I heard that they're looking to recapture from higher education. That's obviously going to hurt our students that are going to university. So I would ask the public and I would ask the board to follow this very, very carefully. And as we get closer to the special session, we'll be posting as much information as we can so our public, so our parents can be aware of the dire state that we find ourselves in the state of New Mexico. With that, Madam President, I stand for any questions you may have.
Board members or Ms. Valdez, is there anything else to enlighten us?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Sanchez. Currently, there's just a lot of discussion, and we're trying to keep our ear to the ground as far as what that could possibly mean to affect the district. And so different scenarios are being sent out. These are the ones that I've heard of. And as Dr. Sanchez said, they do anticipate to go into a special session to figure this out. I don't have any additional information to provide, but as I become aware of any, I'll definitely share with Dr. Sanchez and pass it on to the board.
Thank you very much. Board members? No? Everyone's good. Thank you, Dr. Sanchez.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good, but.
We're not happy. We're not
scared is
happy.
what we are.
Right. But Madam President, it hasn't happened yet, and I think as we have our community members, and I will certainly be a very vocal advocate for the district in this regard, I have already been reaching out to many of our legislators to let them know how tenuous our budget is. And as we move to negotiations, our teachers haven't had a raise in a while. And this is across the state of New Mexico, not only here in Las Cruces Public Schools, but I think we have a responsibility to our fine educators and to build the kinds of balances that we need to make sure that we're able to hire teachers to fill critical vacancies, to hire teachers to add more AP courses to our to the way we do business. But we know since 2008 that the budget situation has been on a downward trend, and I think it calls upon all of us to reach out to our legislators and express to them our deep concern if they start to take cash balances. I didn't mean to use that word. They start to take our cash balances because this is money set aside for our children and their education.
Yes.
We agree. Thank you, Dr. Sanchez. Okay, that's it for the superintendent's report. We go to other reports, and for student advisory report. Tristan?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Sanchez. Yesterday we had our first meeting, official meeting, with all the new student council or student advisory council members. We talked about officers and how we want to proceed with elections and how and when that will happen. We talked about having more presentations for the board that we can generate for you guys on student input. We also scheduled a time to meet this week to generate questions for the superintendent finalists on our student panel that we can ask them what we feel is important. But mostly we're just thrilled to be in the process of the superintendent search. It's really fantastic.
Very good.
Good.
We're glad that you're part of it, too. We're very happy with that. Thank you, Tristan. And we have a lot of students here. Do any of you have anything to say, just because right now is the student time? You're welcome
Your
to come
government
up.
class, anybody wanted to say
No?
anything?
Okay. Are you all from Arrowhead? Is that where you're from? Okay. Well, we're glad you're here. And you heard, you can be a part of this search process with us, okay? So, thank you. All right, no one got up, so we go to human resources. Dr. Marufo?
Yes, good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Sanchez. Before you, you have the August employee report, which represents 60 offers of employment for certified staff, 12 resignations, 3 retirements, 1 leave of absence. In the classified arena, we have 86 offers of employment, 15 resignations, 1 retirement. I stand for questions on that report.
Okay, board members, do we have any questions on the report? Yes.
I'm just wondering how many vacancies exist at this point?
As of today, we have 7.5 vacancies. Mostly those are in special education. I would like to address, as well as an update to the board, in terms of addressing any overloads. We've added, in addition to 2 of the teachers that you restored for each of the high schools, we've added a teacher at Mayfield High School, social studies, an ELA teacher split between Mesa and Vista, a kindergarten teacher at Jornada, English language arts at Mayfield, a teacher at Sonoma, teacher at Jornada, 2 teachers at Las Cruces High, kinder at Loma Heights, a teacher at East Picacho, we added a teacher at Monte Vista, Hermosa Heights, and then we added 4 educational assistants to kindergarten classrooms throughout the district. This year seemed to be the increase in kindergarten classes that were a little bit above projection. We also have added or moved teachers to Desert Hills, who experienced a large growth. We added 2 teachers there. We've also added some extended contracts to high school teachers. I know in certain schools, teachers are provided with the extended contracts so that they're able to extend their skill set, their craft, their expertise, and offer it in an additional course. And so we're continuing to look at any overloads. I believe we are resolved at the elementary level. We're currently working on a couple of reassignments at the middle school. And as far as the high school, we're still looking at that. Students move. We had about 100 student growth at Las Cruces High. We had about 77 student decrease at Centennial High School. So as kids move, we're trying to meet the needs at those schools.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Marufo. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Simpson, did you have something to say
I had a question on this topic.
on this topic?
Right.
Okay.
So it wasn't in public input because it was around this topic, but I wanted to wait to the end of your report.
All right, go ahead.
Great.
You have 3 minutes.
Great, thank you. So I had a question on the issue of splits, also known as multi-age classrooms. We looked at some initial numbers for the number of splits in the district as of a couple of weeks ago, and the elementary count looked like there were 57 different teachers who were asked to teach 2 or 3 grades in their classrooms. And there's much research on the effectiveness of split or multi-age classrooms. A lot of it done way back when it was fashionable. It is less fashionable now, but when done for sound pedagogical reasons, makes a lot of sense. In the places where it is done for pedagogical reasons, those students are selected very carefully. Teachers are given extensive professional development on how to handle a multi-age classroom. So since was meeting with teachers as of last Thursday, and splits were still happening. Even those students had been in the classroom for several weeks. They were being shifted into other classrooms. So I have a couple of questions from human resources about how these splits are happening. So first of all, what is the process in determining which students will be a part of the splits? How are they selected? How are parents notified? How are those students in particular prepared? Second, what is the professional development and training given to educators to adequately prepare for having multiple ages and multiple stages of development in their classroom? Educators are asked to essentially give 2 separate curriculum, and in cases of bilingual, are teaching in 2 languages. Sometimes kinder, first, and second graders all in a single classroom. So we're very curious as to how teachers are supported and prepared prior to those splits taking place. And then finally, when is the deadline? When will the splits end? I mean, it seems like after the 3rd and 4th week of being in classrooms, the classes should be somewhat settled, and that there's still so much movement. That's very, I think, unfair for the students and the teachers. So those are the questions.
Okay.
Thank you,
Dr.
Madam
Sanchez.
President. I could respond, but given we will prepare a response for you, and we will post that as well, so everyone who's here and heard the questions can actually do it. But I would like to say that I did, in Cabinet, we have put a moratorium on any more shifts in the elementary school because of the student-teacher relationships that have developed, and we are entering the 7th week. This has been a difficult school year, but I have placed a moratorium on that. And I did meet with a group of teachers from Central today. As you know, Madam President, I taught a multi-age setting last year, and I shared with them strategies today. Actually, met with Ms. Candelaria, our Director of Elementary Instruction, and Erlinda Martinez, our Interim Associate Superintendent for Instruction. And there is a professional development routine that has been put into place to provide support for the teachers. And I actually shared a copy of how I did lesson planning because the misnomer is that we teach two curricula, and we don't teach two curricula in a multi-age setting. It's actually one curriculum with a differentiated approach. And I shared those strategies with 5 teachers today, actually at Central Elementary. I was invited to be their guest speaker in their PLC. So it was kind of fun. But I will prepare a response for you and get it posted and send it to all the board members as well. I think I got all of your questions, and if I didn't, Amy, I'll touch base with you, okay?
Just also about how the students are selected.
How they're selected, right. How are they selected? How are parents notified? The professional development, the educators being asked to teach 2 separate curricula, how are teachers supported, and when will it end?
And also,
I think I got it.
the bilingual question as well.
Yes, and the bilingual.
Ms. Par Sanchez?
Yes, we just got word that there's 4 to 5 new split classes at BTW. I got an email probably maybe half hour before we got here and the principal said they may be going to full splits throughout the school. So a lot of concern at BTW about split classes as well. Thank you.
I'm sure Dr. Sanchez will follow up on that as well. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Okay, we're done with instruction then, and we move on to finance. Ms. Valdez.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Sanchez. One of the items that was a consent item is the notice for the bond sale resolution, and we have Regina Gaisina here with RBC Capital Markets, and she would like to speak with you just for a few moments and disclose the information on what we'll be doing within the next few weeks.
And just to clarify, it was not a consent item that I can see. No.
It was not.
Okay, yeah,
Excuse
but
me.
it's
Sorry.
next. No, it's okay. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Madam President, members of the board, good evening, everyone. In front of you is a brief packet going over some of the information you're familiar with. Just a few updates on where we at. You can see on page 2 your assessed valuations. So we're still seeing some moderate growth in the values. The preliminary values for 2016 were used to set the tax rates for 2016 tax year. On the following page, you can see that even after the sale of the 2016 C bonds,
Talk
the
right into the mic. It's
Better?
real loud and talk right into it. It's not
all
very
right.
sensitive.
After the sale of 2016 C bonds, the district will still have plenty of capacity for the last and fourth sale of 2014 authorization, which we will be holding early to mid 2017. Page 5, you can see the tax rates for tax year 2016. These are the same tax rates which were reported by the PED and have been finalized. So the sale of 2016 C bonds will maintain the tax rate at the same level as we have seen historically. So not anticipating any tax rate increases. History of major taxpayers provided on page 6. We will be receiving updated information from the county treasurer for 2016 sometime mid-October. And page 8, bond sale calendar, working with Dr. Sanchez and Crystal for the upcoming bond rating. Next week, we are anticipating to sell 2016 C bonds on Tuesday, October 18th, and district will receive the funds on November 22nd. The document you will be approving today is the notice of sale resolution, which will allow us to go and publicly market the bonds to banks and investment firms. The following pages are just the outstanding debt of the district, your general obligation debt, and your lease purchase agreements. And with that, open for questions.
Okay, board members, this was part of our packet. We did have it. Do you have any questions or comments? Okay, I think we're good. Yes, Ms. Valdez? You're good?
I am good. Thank
Okay,
you.
all right. So then, we'll go ahead and thank you very much for your
Thank you.
presentation. So then, I will entertain a motion to approve the notice of bond sale resolution.
So moved.
We have a first.
Second.
And we have a second. All in favor of this sale resolution?
Aye.
Aye. And it passes. Thank you very much.
Unanimous.
Yes. Did you have?
It said note that it was unanimous.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise,
It passes unanimously. Thank you. You want me to add more words then, huh? Okay. I will try and remember that. Thank you. Okay, we move on to the board financial report.
The board financial report that's being presented is a point in time. It's as of the first working day after the close of the previous month. And so the information included in that is the first 2 months of the year. And we've evaluated it as far as, is there any abnormalities? Is there anything unexpected? And did not see anything that was unexpected. And I stand for questions on that.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Valdez. Board members, do we have any questions? Okay, this is usually when no one has any comments, okay? So you can get used to that. I think it's pretty regular. So thank you very much for your presentation. And we move on to operations. Mr. Hawkes.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Gloria Martinez, our Director of Construction, to update you on our first report, which will be all of our projects, and then the second report will be specific to Las Cruces High School.
Thank you.
Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Sanchez, I'd like to present my construction report for the month of September. First project we have is Las Cruces High School Phase 1, and I'm going to go into more detail on my second report. But for here, I have pictures, and it shows the area of the new cafeteria. Dirt work is ongoing on that one. Our next project we have is Sierra Middle School, and we have a lot of activity going on in that project, and I have several pictures to show you here. We've completed the front area. There's the new courtyard. We've completed the gym, and that's already being occupied. The students are already utilizing the new gym. Here's a picture of the gym corridor. This is right outside the gym, and this is the area where people will come into the gym from the outside. We have gym restrooms, which come right off of that corridor. Our next picture are gym locker room, and these are already being utilized by the students. We have the administration area. That is not opened yet because we're still waiting for furniture, and that should come at the end of the month. As soon as the furniture comes in, we will set up the administration area, and that will get occupied. Our areas that are still actively under construction are the music areas, and you can see work going on there. And those are all the pictures I have for Sierra Middle School. Our next project is Court Charter School Campus Remodel, and this is a work going on at Alma Duarte. And the areas that we're working on right now are the first floor, and I have pictures of the classrooms. There's a classroom there. Next picture is another classroom. I have a picture of the hallway there, and we were able to save some of the existing light fixtures, and they came in really nice with the remodel. The only thing we haven't done in the hallway is the new flooring. Our next project is Mesilla Elementary re-roof. Right now, the contractor is working on the punch list items. As soon as he finishes those, that project will be complete. After that project is finished, we're going to start on the drainage upgrade. And that's where we'll take all the water generated from the new roof, and it's going to be going into drainage canals and drainage storage tanks. And then that way it won't flood and go back into the school. That was a problem area that we had before. Our next project is security fencing at several schools. Alameda Elementary School is complete. Lynn Middle School, that should be complete by the end of September. Mesa Middle School, that project's complete. Sierra Middle School, that project is ongoing with our gym remodel and security area in the front of the school. That won't be finished until the end of next month. We have Valley View, should be finished at the end of this month, and I know I have August there, but it should be September. Vista Middle School, that will be finished by the end of September, and Zia Middle School, that's nearing completion. Our next project is Hermosa Heights Elementary School, and this afternoon, the committee and myself, we interviewed the 3 top finalists for this project. We will be working on selecting one, and we will be bringing it to the board at the next board meeting for your approval. Our next project is Jornada Elementary School. We have 2 phases of this project. Phase 1 is to build the office area in the front, and that is expected to finish on December 23rd. Once that project is finished, we're going to go on to Phase 2, which will encompass remodeling the existing office area into a classroom. And that one's expected to be complete at the end of January. Our next project is the soccer complex, and I have several pictures here. As construction is ongoing on the soccer complex, we are able to utilize it. The games are being played there. We have the construction area fenced off for the safety of any participants and or spectators at the area. So right here we have a picture of the concession stand, and in the concession stand building, we have the concession stands, we have restrooms, and we have areas for officials to change into. So we have official changing room. We also have storage rooms in there for all 4 high schools. And then here's the west view of the concession stand. And then next picture, we have the new bleachers and the press box. My last 3 projects are 3 roofing projects funded by the insurance company, and these are all roofing projects that were funded because of the hail damage that was done to them. Our first project is Desert Hills Elementary School. This project is ongoing and it should be finished by the end of October. Sierra Middle School, we just got the permit today, so as soon as we get all the paperwork signed, contract signed, we'll start that project, and it's going to be done by the same contractor that's doing the remodel right now of Sierra Middle School. And our last roofing project is Alma de Arte, and that project is ongoing right now, and that will be finished at the end of October. And I stand for questions.
Okay, a lot of projects.
Yes.
A lot of things going on. Any questions or comments? Okay, so then we can go on to Las Cruces High School.
Okay, this is Las Cruces High School Phase 2. This one started August 15th. We did start late. We were hoping to start in May, but because of some holdups with the state, we started late. Estimated completion date for this project is going to be February 2018. Okay, at several areas around the school, we put up these information posters. This is for parents, students, visitors, so they can get a feel of what's going on at the school. Areas pointed out are parking areas, walking areas, the construction zones, and what areas we're going to do construction in. I also put this picture in here. This is Phase 2 site plan. This was originally done with, and it's color-coded, and it was color-coded to match the time frame of if we would have started in May. So I took out the timeline on there, but I just left the color coding. Now, Phase 2 of this project will consist of the remodel of the following facilities. We're going to remodel the main gym. We're going to remodel classrooms D and E. We're going to remodel the vocational building, the music building, H wing. The old auxiliary gym is going to be converted to the athletic field house. And then we're going to do a lot of site improvements around the whole area because we had a lot of drainage issues, and we want to make sure that we correct those on this phase. Phase 2 will also consist of new construction, which includes a dining and kitchen facility, a new auxiliary gym, new tennis courts, and outside basketball courts. And I have several pictures here. This is the picture of the new auxiliary gym, and it's dirt work going on for that project. Estimated completion date for the new gym is going to be end of May. And then we have a lot of work going on at the cafeteria. We have the plumbing and electrical rough-in is complete. And we're presently working on the footings, and we hope to have this completed by spring break. Our next picture is the old auxiliary gym. And you'll see we already finished demoing and cleaning out, so that one's ready to be remodeled. Estimated completion date for that is March. And then I wanted to throw in some pictures so you could see what the old administration area looked like before we demo that area. That's the outside, and here's the inside. And because we were demoing those areas, that's where the nurse's office is. We haven't finished building the new nurse's office, so we had to build them a temporary nurse's office. And this is in the gym lobby. And you already see it's already occupied. The new nurse's office is to be completed by the end of December, so as soon as we finish the new nurse's office, they're going to move into there. And this is, I want to show you also the area in front of H-Wing. This is where the cafeteria is going to go. Wing D, you can see a lot of demos gone on in here. The exterior and the interior. And then we also have, I took some pictures of the drainage work. This is on the west side. And I stand for questions.
Okay, it's a very busy construction site.
Yes.
Board members?
I have a question.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. Is this approximately on schedule for completion?
Madam President,
close?
Mrs. Hall, we did start late. We anticipated we wanted to start in May, right after schools finished, but we weren't able to because of, like I said, the state was requiring additional documentation material from us, and they hadn't signed the contracts yet. So we didn't start till August 15th. Our estimated completion date now is February. Originally, we were hoping to be completed in December, January, so we're about 2 months behind.
Okay.
So with good weather, we might be through.
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'm just
Mr.
wondering, you know, what kind of effect does all of this construction have on the instructional program and you know, our athletic program at this site?
Madam President, Mr. Frank, what we're doing, and that's why, like I said, I took out that that one. Hold on, let me go back here. This one slide here that showed the different timeframes and schedules. We are meeting with the administration. We're meeting also with athletics. There was a set schedule of how we were going to start the construction and remodeling with the gyms. But because we started late, we had to go back and meet with athletics. And we've kind of shifted around, and we've been working with them. And they're an active participant in all our meetings. And anytime we have any schedules or any updates, we make sure that they're included. But right now, we're doing good with working around the students. It's a safe area. Like I said, we have areas fenced off where students can't get into the construction. We also work with them as far as walking paths and also like scheduling of the gyms and the facilities and everything like that. We also, I'm actively working with administration. If it's too noisy, too dusty for students, they let me know, and I will work with a contractor, very good contractors to work with. They will readjust their schedule, making sure that we disrupt the students as little as possible.
Sure. Thank you.
It's good to know. Yes, Mr. Castro?
President, I have one dumb question to ask.
No questions are dumb here.
Maybe Crystal can answer this. What kind of insurance do we have? Fire damage, and so, for example, the hail damage, wouldn't it have been covered by insurance, like any home that's insured?
Right. So I looked over to Mr. Manning. Thank you, Mr. Castro. We do, as you saw on the slides, when, for instance, where we were working with Sierra Middle School, where that construction was ongoing, and with the insurance, and the insurance is going to participate in that cost.
Oh, okay.
And there's several roofing projects where they do participate, so yes, our insurance would kick in on that, including the new construction, since that was in process when the hail damage was done.
Of the insurance right there. That's when you see NIPSIA, that's when it's the New Mexico Public School Authority, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And any other, Mr. Davis, did you have any question? Okay, so thank you very much for that presentation on Las Cruces High School. Thank you. Okay, that will now take us on to board items, new business. We are needing to have another adoption of the school year 2016-17 Open Meetings Act resolution. So, gotta make sure we cover this as much as possible. It's there before you. And I will entertain a motion to adopt the school year 2016-17 Open Meetings Act.
So moved.
Okay.
Thank you. And all in favor of this?
Aye.
Aye. And it passes unanimously. Okay? All right. And then we're needing to make a change on our work session for November. I propose a change to change the date of the November 1st, 2016 work session to November 3rd, 2016, beginning at 4 p.m. I will entertain a motion to approve the date change from November 1st to November 3rd.
So moved.
Okay, we have a first from Mr. Davis.
Second.
And, okay, and a second from Mr. Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and it passes unanimously, okay? And then one short committee assignment change. We are changing, Mr. Frank and Mr. Castro have been attending the Finance Committee meetings, and in order to allow Mr. Frank to learn about finance and before the changes coming up of the new election, we need to make sure everybody's on board and knows what's going on. So Mr. Davis will acquiesce to Mr. Frank. And you are now, if Ms. Valdez, if we can please make that change, and Mr. Frank will be joining the Finance Committee. So if you could send all the great information that you send us to
Yes,
Mr.
I will
Frank.
make note of that.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, so that takes care of the new business. Did you have any
Madam
comments?
President, I would just like to thank Mr. Davis for his dedication to attending those many meetings and providing such good input into the ongoings of the business of the meeting. So thank you, Mr. Davis. We appreciate your service.
Yes, thank you. They are always so much fun. Okay.
Now, Madam President, you can
Yes.
put him on another committee.
I know, we'll have to
No,
think
I'm
of
just
one.
teasing. Shut
Okay, we now move on to the action. This is old business. And let's see, first of all, I'm not going to lessen the number. I don't see that here. We're just going to go directly to this. Okay. I will entertain a motion to select Dr. Gregory Ewing, Chief Accountability Officer for Cobb County School District in Marietta, Georgia, Dr. Gregory Rodriguez, Deputy Superintendent at Huntsville Independent School District in Huntsville, Texas, and Dr. Arsenio Romero, Assistant Superintendent for Instruction, Curriculum, and Turnaround at Roswell Independent School District in Roswell, New Mexico, as the finalist for the position of superintendent. We will now do a roll call vote. Ms. Hall? Oh, we need a first.
So move.
Okay, Ms. Hall makes the first, and Mr. Davis the second, and now we will take a roll call vote.
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Castro?
Yes.
I vote yes.
And I vote yes, so those are our finalists for today. Okay? We have 3 finalists. We will go on to, I will entertain a motion to approve the change to Regulation BEDB, Regulation Board Agenda Setting, agenda adding Student Advisory Report and Welcome Student Advisor to the outline of the agenda, and deleting approval of consent agenda items as noted by asterisk. I need a motion. Okay, Ms. Hall? I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
We had discussion?
Do you want to discuss
I'm just, you know, looking.
on which item? On this item?
Sure,
Okay.
the regulation or,
Yes.
or the policy, we're voting right now on the policy,
This is regulation.
the regulation.
Yes.
So, you know, it talks about, the posting of the agenda, but what about the packet? Are there any regulations governing the posting of the packet? Is that's not
I
addressed?
don't know. Are there, Ms. Galvan?
Dr. Sanchez, Madam President, the only requirement deals with the agenda, the timeline of when that has to go up. Our packet is posted, though, online, so anyone who wants to see it, they can look at it.
Right, okay.
Okay, so then, we had a first and a second. Is that all you?
I just
okay.
wanted that clarification.
Okay, all right. So we had a first and a second. All in favor of this change to the regulation?
Aye.
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 Okay, so that passes unanimously. Thank you. We are doing the second reading. I'll let Ms. Galvan take over.
So we're doing a second reading of Policy BA, your board goals, and the regulation that goes with that. If we could go to that, you already reviewed the suggested changes at your last meeting within the policy. One thing that was asked of the board is that we make a reference in your goals to deal with the morale. And so we put that in your board goals under section, wait a minute. Could you go back, Bill? This is, it is in the regulation.
In the regulation, Joe.
Is this okay, there we go.
Towards the end.
Is under your fourth goal, quality and human resources. And the statement is that there shall be a conscious effort when making decisions that impact district staff to maintain and or improve employee morale, which impacts students and the health of the district. And that is our recommended change. If you have no other further changes, we would recommend approval of this item. I guess it's for next time. I'm sorry, was it on for tonight for approval?
For third reading.
For the third reading.
One more. All right.
Thank you. I'll change it.
If the public has any comment, that would be great, too. It will be on the website, correct?
Yes, and the board goals have been sent to every employee in our district for input if they had any.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Madam President,
Yes.
point of information. What happened to 6B1?
6B1.
It's a consent.
It was a consent agenda.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's hard to keep track of, I know, but, yeah. We already approved it. It was part of our consent agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Uh-huh. So that takes us on then to number 5, discussion of proposed changes to the Wall of Champions at the Field of Dreams football field. So, Mr. Elliott is coming up. And did you have something to add, Dr.
I
Sanchez?
was just going to tell you that Mr. Elliott was here.
Yes. Mhm.
Apologize for not getting these earlier. I know we were supposed to have them earlier, but I messed up.
It's all right. We all do that every now and then.
Madam President, members of the board, and Dr. Sanchez, thank you for allowing us to come before you to discuss our proposal at the Field of Dreams for the Wall of Champions name and the creation of a Legends area summary. When we met last time with you guys, know I get very nervous and my voice crackles, so I apologize ahead of time.
Oh, don't be nervous.
First, I'd like to introduce Dave and Claire Hawkes and Tom and Jareen Hutchinson, Rudy Communis' daughters and sons-in-law, and Phyllis Bradley and Jimmy Michael from our committee. Our proposal, we met last winter with you folks, and I know I got 3 minutes 3.
No, you have.
We met last winter with you folks and got some direction. We left the meeting after presenting at the school board, met with Mr. Rounds for, I think, 4 different types of meetings. Then we met with Dr. Sanchez, and last week we met with Madam President and Dr. Sanchez to discuss directions that we're headed and try to make sure we're on the right path and those types of things. We have changed direction somewhat based on input from our last meeting and based on some input from community members and those types of things. So we are proposing a Wall of Champions be, the current Wall of Champions be named the Rudy Communis Wall of Champions. And we are also proposing that we construct a Legends area, and we don't have a name for that Legends area yet, but like a Legends patio down on the south end of the football field where we can make plaques, put on the plaques on a pole, put fence around it, and create a nice Legends patio area. The size, as stated on here, would allow us to do the 3 initial plaques that would go on there. One of those would be the purpose of the Legends area, and the other 2 would be the information on Jim Bradley and Rudy Communis. But so we, through the different meetings we've had and those kinds of things, we have committed to the Las Cruces Public Schools that we will totally fundraise the cost of this project. We are estimating that the project will cost in the neighborhood of $17,000, and we again will fundraise that so that we no cost to the school district.
Mr. Elliott, I'm sorry. Into the microphone.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
that we can make sure our board members can hear. It's harder to hear up here on the dais.
I'm sorry.
Right into
Should I start over?
No.
I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad you said that. Thank you very much. On this sheet that we passed out, the first part of it.
Right into it.
On this sheet, oh yeah, I can tell the difference too. On this sheet, the sheet, the first page, we talk about criteria to be established for a person to be an honoree to be inducted into this Legends Plaza, Legends area, whatever we decide to talk about it. After meeting last week with Madam President and Dr. Sanchez, we went and met with Ms. Martinez and Mr. Manning to discuss the processes and procedures that we would have to follow in terms of, even though it's going to be donated money, the processes and procedures that we would have to follow in terms of making this, following the state and school district procedures, of which we've already started. We did get a architect's drawing of it, which is in that packet I gave to you, and we have started the process of getting the Rudy Communis Wall of Champions sign the cost out and getting the cost of the Legends area, and then getting the cost of putting the fence and the cement in the Legends area. And then we will go to a contractor with whatever that license is, Ms. Martinez, that they have to have. We've talked to a couple of them, and get a cost from 3 different sources on the cost of this project. And so as we go through here, we've had numerous meetings with folks at the school district and with our folks, and we've moved on. But we really feel right now, folks, that we're making this proposal to you all, and we think it's a very viable proposal. It's an effort to recognize outstanding community members, our legends in the athletic world. As you can see from the criteria, it's not just about winning and losing. It's not just about coaching records. It's about the total community involvement, of which is very evident in this school district right now today. So through that criteria, we are recommending that the initial honorees be Coach Bradley and Coach Communis. We also have in this packet, the last couple of pages, the suggested, and it's only the suggested verbiage that would go on their plaques so that you folks can see why we would recognize and honor these folks. In the packet also, and I apologize to you, one of the pages has a color picture of what it would look like with the Rudy Communis sign down there and then the plaques, but it's turned around. And I wrote down there, and I apologize to you, but the plaques would be turned around and they would be faced toward the actual Rudy Communis sign. So all this recognition of our legends, of the legacies that these folks have done through the many years would all be down there at that south end of the Field of Dreams, and that's when it was, that Wall of Champions was established a long time ago. It was to recognize the success of the kids, the state championship teams, the individual state championship performers, the people that made that Field of Dreams a reality, and now taken it one level to see who our legends are and honor them within our, from the school district. So, also a page in here from an architect, a KS Architects, that drew us for us a professional drawing so we can tell what we're trying to do down there and so you folks can tell what we're trying to do. So we are proposing this, folks, to the board and Dr. Sanchez. We, if at all possible from this meeting, would like to get direction on which way we head. Are we okay with the way we're going? We know that in another month or so from now, we will be getting a new superintendent. And so we would just like to, for you folks, however it's done, to give us direction on how and what we should do to proceed.
Okay, well, thank you for your presentation. I'd like board members to comment and see what your thoughts are, so that Mr. Elliott and his group are able to continue one way or the other, and maybe Tristan also, if you have something you might want to add. Who'd like to start? Mr. Castro?
Yeah, Madam President, what kind of community support do we have on this project thus far?
Mr. Castro, after that first meeting and our meetings with Mr. Rounds, we went out and we got a petition of 1,500 community members to support this project. Now, the petition, the idea of the Legends area inside the Field of Dreams is different than what we have on here, but it's because we had originally wanted to do some things with the field, and so we decided to go another area. But anyway, this petition talks about the Rudy Communis Wall of Champions and also support of doing something inside the football field. So, and more willing to, if you all want to keep this or have it, more than willing to give it to you.
No, we'll just keep, you go ahead and keep it for us, okay?
Okay,
We
thank
know
you.
that it's there. Anyone else? Ms. Hall?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just would like to ask Tristan, excuse me, do you have any feel for what students are thinking about this?
This is the first I've heard about it, so I don't know. I know that at least like probably Mayfield student government, my school, and other student governments would be happy to help fundraise if you reached out to us and we could help develop a plan. But beyond that, I don't know at this point.
Thank you very much.
I know that students were polled, and they were pretty much opposed to having the Field of Dreams changed at all. This is honoring both someone from Cruces High and from Mayfield, but at the same time, I wonder if we wouldn't be better off just to leave well enough alone and stay with what we have as far as what's at the Field of Dreams. There are plaques for people who have been honored in our school district, and I wonder if that might not be the sufficient way to approach this.
Well, I can't, I mean, it's our feeling that the Legends, the current Wall of Champions is basically for the kids and the adults that first supported the building of the Field of Dreams. And now so we thought, well, what's another factor or another way that we can go in and honor and recognize the history of athletics besides the state championships and the construction of the Field of Dreams. And so we felt, and I neglected to say this, but with the Legends area we're talking about, it's big enough to where we can go in the future and add numerous other honorees. So it's not just limited to our two proposed nominees right now. And I can't give you the exact number, but I'm going to say we could probably put 8 more recognitions of people in our community that have totally supported the athletic program.
Okay.
And we did have the suggestion, Mrs. Hall, about just, putting and I say just because I think this is much more important than putting it on the wall. The wall's getting very crowded, and it's going to continue to get very crowded because of the success the athletic program has had over the number of years. And, the community's willing to establish this Legends area and raise the money at no cost to the district. So I would hope that the board would give us the direction to move forward.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did that answer your question, ma'am?
Oh, are you finished?
Go ahead, Mr.
Oh,
Davis.
Mr. Davis?
I would suggest that they would get a white paper on what we're talking about for us to consider. Because at this point, I'm a little confused about what area they're doing and why they're doing, what their plans are doing it. And it has to recognize not only what we're doing right now, but how we'll be doing in the future. So if there's some way we could get that
Mr.
down.
Can I
Yes.
respond to that, please?
Yes.
In your packet, there's an architectural drawing that shows at that south end where the proposed Legends area is in terms of the Wall of Champions. And then there's another drawing, and I did this, so with my shaky hand, as you can see me shaking right here, there's this drawing that indicates how that all would fit in down there at the south end of that football stadium.
Okay.
And we're private citizens, and it's, we're going to raise the money, and the more, and I understand your need for knowledge and what's happening, and I'm not debating that, but the more drawings we have to go out, the more upfront money we have to issue, it just puts that much more of a burden on us. Now, we will accept it if you want, a total white type of a drawing, but, this, as of right now, this is the best we could do.
Go ahead, Dr. Sanchez.
Madam President, Mr. Davis, Mr. Elliott, I will be happy. I've met with the team a couple of times now, and I understand Mr. Davis's request. I'd be happy to prepare or help prepare a white paper as requested by Mr. Davis. I can do that relatively quickly.
Thank you.
And then I'll run it by you for approval, and we'll get it to the board if that meets with your approval.
Oh, sure.
Happy to do it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Did you have something?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, go ahead.
I would like, in the overall feeling of this, that it be stipulated that the school district not have to bear any burden now or in the future for adding to this, to these plaques. I'm still not in favor of doing that, but I would, if that's what's going to happen, I would like to be sure that the school district doesn't have to bear that burden.
And that's a good point, Ms. Hall. As this thing develops and as we put in some guidelines and things like that, we can stipulate with the nomination process that the community or the people making the nominee, we can stipulate and make that part of the criteria that they got to pay for it.
Okay.
So that the school district doesn't have any cost to it.
Mr. Davis?
Yeah, on this wall or this area, what kind of names you're going to be putting down there? Like you talk about
Well,
just the athletics of school personnel, or you're going to start?
In this Legends area, Mr. Davis, you mean?
Yeah, put that area there.
It basically could be a school, former school district member, whether it's a superintendent, board member, administrator, coach, or a citizen of the community that has done a lot to support athletics. So it's really not limited to but that's our proposed criteria. That it could go to that, because there are, as you all know, we have tremendous support in that community. Well, if they meet the entire criteria a community member meets that criteria, then we feel that that community member should be able to be honored in this Legends area. But so it's school district related people and community people that have done a super job in supporting athletics. Did that answer the questions?
Madam President.
Go ahead, Mr. Frank.
Mr. Elliott, are you comfortable with us waiting a month and taking action on this in October?
We're not taking action today. It's not an action item.
Oh, it's a
No.
discussion. Oh, okay.
I'm going to recommend one thing. I feel that we should do two actions. One for the wall, that we can put up the Rudy Camuñez Wall of Champions, the sign that you have proposed to us. If you could bid that separately, and then we can vote on that right away. The other one is a little bit more, because it's part of, on the ground, I think that we need to make sure that everything is correct there. And I still haven't heard from Mr. Viramontes. And I know that we just need to follow up. There will be more follow-up for that item for your, what do you call it, your Legends area? So that we vote on the wall next month. And then if we could get more information on the Legends area, that would work. At least we can get one thing done.
Okay.
Okay? How do you feel, how does your group feel about that?
Well, we appreciate it, and if that's the direction of the board, yes, we will do that.
Okay.
To be very honest with you folks, it was our intent,
Yes.
because we have to go out and raise money for the entire
To do
project.
the whole thing, yes.
We wanted to try to bundle it together instead of doing it separately, because then that will cause us more challenges. But again, if that's the direction of the board, then, of course, we will do that.
Dr. Sanchez, do you think that's a good idea, or what do you recommend?
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Elliott, I had actually asked Mr. Elliott to meet with our folks in Mr. Hawkes's division to get a look at all of the clearances that we have to go through. It's not so easy as just coming in and pouring a slab of cement anymore, like in the old days. So what I would suggest is that it's difficult to move forward until we understand the ramifications of the construction at the Field of Dreams. So I would support your recommendation.
Okay, and I just worry that, we want to get something done, okay? So we can do one piece of it, and you can just keep proposing that it will be done. We just don't know, we have to follow the regulations, the rules and
We
regulations.
understand that, sure.
And, not even the board knows everything that they have to go through. I know Mr. Manning and Ms. Martinez are the ones, and if you can continue working with them, I think that's the best recommendation we can have for that, so that everything is done properly.
So the direction of the board is, just so I understand this.
Yes.
The direction of the board is to go ahead with the Rudy Camuñez
Yes.
signage, and then at the same time develop the construction documents and
Yes.
and that part of the Legends area.
Right,
To,
and we will then vote next, and probably we could vote at our work session which is a little sooner, in October.
Yeah, and Madam President, I would say the direction is that the board will consider it
Yes.
at its next
At our
open
next meeting,
meeting.
and it will be an action item then.
okay.
Because they have to take an official vote
Yes,
in an open
I
meeting.
can't decide it today.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for all your work and all your efforts in this area. We appreciate it. Okay, that takes us to board member reports and board member business. Does anyone have anything they'd like to report? Ms. Hall?
Yes, I'm, besides reading loads of things for superintendent applications, I've done some other things. But maybe I won't tell you. I did go to Lynn Middle School for their initial IPE meeting. There were, I don't know how many, I didn't count noses. Did you, Dr. Sanchez? Probably 25?
There were at least 40 people there,
think there
maybe
were that many?
35, 40 people.
They were very enthusiastic and excited to be there. I went to Centennial to a volleyball game the other night to see the daughter of one of my first graders play volleyball. That was kind of fun. She's a junior this year, so that puts some age on me. Excuse me. Today I met with the Las Cruces Public School Foundation Board. We're moving forward for the spring celebration of excellence and hoping to get more payroll deductions. There have been several teachers and principals who have done that kind of donation, and we're hoping to get more. We plan to have a celebration for those people who have decided to have payroll deductions, and that will be forthcoming for teachers and principals. I went to the Doñana Community College naming of the Alex Sanchez building in the beginning of the month. It was a very lovely ceremony. The Sanchez family was here and seemed quite grateful. They did a lot for the community college. Went to Terry Dean's reception for his leaving and hated to tell him goodbye, although I welcomed Crystal with open arms, but it's hard to lose Terry. I know you know that. I've been a couple of times to the Mid-School Leadership Academy to see how those kids and teachers are doing, and one of the teachers who is there was one of the teachers whose program I supervised when she was a student teacher, and she is a perfect fit. I'm so pleased that she has gotten moved to that. She was at Conley or at University Hills, but this is a perfect spot for her, and the kids seem to love her dearly. And I went last night to Tristan's group to the student meeting. So anyways, how many kids were there, Tristan?
I think it was 15 or 16.
Quite a few. It was quite exciting. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Hall, and we always appreciate your visiting schools the way you do. Any other board members report? Okay, so then I'll get to mine. I attended a student mixer hosted by Ms. Hammond to bring students together who were interested in the student advisory. This was before our meeting yesterday. Mr. Castro and I attended an Legislative Education Study Committee in Alamogordo, and we heard efforts made by Carlsbad School District to improve attendance. They have quite a nice program for that. I presented to the City Council on Community Schools Initiative together with Engage, David Greenberg, and Ms. Par Sanchez. The board worked really hard to read all the applications for superintendent. We started out with 14 in all to then select our 5 semifinalists. And I just want to say that it was hard selecting our finalists. They were all very good candidates. It's just that as you see them and you review their applications, etc., they're at different places, and some are more ready than others, and that's the only way we were able to decide. We have talked a great deal about it, and we have given it much consideration. After all the interviews for our semifinalists yesterday, we also attended the first student advisory, and Dr. Sanchez did a great job showing them the lay of the boardroom. I thought that was fun. Other than fundraisers and registering citizens to vote, I look forward to the selection of our next superintendent. There is an opportunity for anyone that is interested to meet our finalists and engage them with questions and concerns, whatever comes up. I am proud of the work we have done so far, and I thank my fellow board members, Dr. Sanchez and his staff, for making all of the arrangements. It has been very smooth so far. So thank you to all of you and all of staff. We appreciate it. And as we all know, this is one of the most important decisions that we will be making for the district, and we hold that very uppermost in our minds. We wish our finalists good luck. Finally, condolences to the family of Terrence Crutcher of Tulsa, Oklahoma. This continues to continue, and I just like to bring notice to it. And I think that is all I have for my report. Excuse me. we have a calendar of events, and I just want to bring to your attention that there was one thing that's not on there, the October 19th joint city meeting. October 19th, yes. And Ms. Hall was the one that pointed it out to me. Oh, Mr. Frank found it, and it's at 1 p.m., I think, on the 19th. And then Mr. Frank and I will be doing agenda setting this week, along with Dr. Sanchez for our city meeting. Let's see, we also need to know the availability of board members for September 26th or September 27th for a closed session. And this is to go over.
Madam President, and members of the board, what we're asking is for a closed session to discuss the case study that we will be presenting to our finalists for comment.
Okay, so
And do a little
then,
training.
if you can go ahead and email Dr. Sanchez your preference, and we are going to actually be in an agenda setting at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, the 27th. Perhaps we could make it at 3 p.m. that afternoon?
We can.
If you all think it works, if you're available. If not, we'll make
On
it
the
on the
27th at
on the
3?
27th. Does that work for everyone? Okay, we'll have everyone email Dr. Sanchez with your availability, okay? 27th, 3 p.m. for a closed session. Also in your folder is the NMSBA training report, and I have that right here. This is what we do up in Santa Fe or in Albuquerque. And every board member has earned an exemplary status certificate by NMSBA, the New Mexico School Board Association. In addition, Mr. Frank has earned his Level 1 and Level 2 certificates, and Mr. Castro has earned his Level 2 certificate. The certificates will be presented to board members at the annual convention awards luncheon on December 2nd, 2016 at the Embassy Suites Hotel and Spa in Albuquerque. So congratulations to 2 of our board members. We do work, yes. And if there is nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Hall and Mr. Davis, all in favor? Aye, and we adjourn unanimously. Good night.
Unanimous.